everybody, it's Emily from Pages and Ink, and today I am doing my Fave Fridays, or Friday Favorites jar pick thing. If you didn't see last week's video, basically what this concept is there's a bunch of topics in this jar, and every Friday I will pull one out of the jar and just talk about it right off the bat, no preparation, just whatever I can think of that has to do with that topic. It gives me something to make videos about on a weekly basis, which I had problems with last year, so it'll help me a little bit with that. Because I did have problems with talking about things in like a structured setting. So this way I don't really have to worry about that. I can just talk about whatever the topic is and just kind of enjoy my time with you guys. So, last week the topic was Uprooted by Naomi Novik, right here. And this week's topic is, if I don't drop paper everywhere, female characters! A good one. Okay, so non-structured talk about female characters. I guess I can start with my favorites. So, I have quite a few. One of them, if you've never really been able to tell, is Katniss Everdeen. And a lot of people kind of don't like Katniss, or they think that she's very dramatic in the later books, even though she pretty much has PTSD from participating in 2 games and ultimately surviving, while the one person that she wanted to survive the games over her is trapped in a place being tortured. So I'm pretty sure if that was you, you would probably be a mess too. But what I like about Katniss isn't just her ability with a bow, it's the fact that she has to be herself. She's not very good at being what people want her to be, because that's not really who she is. That's who they think she is. You know, they want her to be the leader of a rebellion, and she just really wants to just be. You know, she doesn't want to get involved anymore, but she does in order to pretty much help, in a way. She actually does it mostly to protect Peeta, because she makes a deal with Coin in the 3rd book. And I realize that this is completely spoilerful. Sorry. But most of you guys probably have seen the movies, if anything. And if I have spoiled something for you, I'm really sorry. But what I just really like Katniss. She's not like my role model or anything. I do have a character that is not necessarily my role model, but I do want to be like her the most. She doesn't make the best the best decisions in her life, but she does what she can when the situation presents it. But I do like Katniss because she is pretty selfless for the most part. I mean, what happens at the end of the 1st book and the 1st movie, she does to protect her own skin, but it's also to kind of stay who she is. She doesn't want to be a part of the games. She doesn't want to kill Peeta because when she goes home, his family will pretty much hate her. Most of the people in the district might too, because everybody liked Peeta. I think deep down she also didn't want to hurt Peeta. I say all this with only seeing the movies the past couple years. I haven't read the books in a while, so I do need to go back and read those. But I like Katniss, and now moving on. So one of my other favorite characters, and she's the one that's not necessarily my role model because the occupation in which she has is probably not something that I would want to do, just because I can barely hurt like a bug, let alone some human being. But Selena Sardothian from the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas is probably my favorite female character ever. And it's because, like, even though the world kind of hands her this plate of crap, she's like, I can handle this. You know, to be truthful, in the 1st book, when the world hands her that plate of crap, she's like, I'm just trying to survive. Don't be giving me this. I don't need this. But ultimately she ends up doing it, and it kind of starts this entire journey for her, which, you know, she gets knocked down, but she also learns a lot about herself. She grows in her strength, and she ultimately starts to get closer to her ultimate goal. and kind of embraces the role that she's meant to play. But she does it in her own way, in her own terms, a little bit. You know, she doesn't just hop on the bandwagon. She's like, not sure about that. But Celaena's an assassin, and that's kind of what I mean by I'm not sure that I would want her occupation, because like I said, I can barely hurt a bug. But I like Celaena because she's independent and she's smart. She has very good endurance, like, because she has to run and climb and jump and all sorts of different assassin-y things. She can defend herself pretty well. She's also got more magic on her side than I would in this world. You know, she doesn't really put up with too much. Even the king, she's like terrified of, but I believe at one point in one of the series she doesn't necessarily give him attitude, but she doesn't really let him cow her. He doesn't let her, she doesn't let him walk all over her, which is, you know, great for a woman, because a lot of times, especially in today's society, I don't want to say that we're stepped on, but there are quite a few instances where women just aren't appreciated, if that's the best thing to say. But I wish I was more like Celaena. I wish I was more independent. I wish I could, you know, make more decisions based on myself and not so much others. She does do it based on others sometimes, but, you know, I feel like sometimes I just do a lot for other people and don't really get much in return. And I know I shouldn't expect that because, you know, that's not how the world works, but sometimes it would be nice. Another one of my favorite characters is Cinder from the Lunar Chronicles, and I like her for some of the same reasons that I like Celaena. She's very independent. She doesn't really let people walk all over her, including her stepmother. I mean, she tries to kind of be, not rebellious, but she tries to put her foot down, like, you can't treat me this way, and she's like, what are you talking about? So, she tries at least, and, you know, that's better than not doing anything. Let's see, who else? Female characters. I also really like Blue Sergeant, now that I think about it, Blue Sergeant. Because she, you know, kind of, she's not special in the way everybody in her family is. You know, she's not a psychic, she's just blue. She's an amplifier, though, which can be kind of cool. But she doesn't even really wish that she had powers. Sometimes she does when the situation presents itself and she's like, man, my mom would have known, and blah blah. But she, you know, kind of makes it her own thing. She's her own person too, which is really important, and sometimes I'm not like that. So if I had to pick a trait from Blue, it would be to be my own person. You know, she makes her own clothes, she decorated her own walls, which I kind of did. Over here, I have like glow-in-the-dark paint to create like stars, and then of course like plastic stars that kids put on their ceilings. But I wanted like a nighttime wall because I really like stars and the moon. But anyway, she puts like paper flowers, and you know, she makes everything her own, and I wish I could be like that sometimes. Let's see. I think I have a lot more favorite male characters than female characters. Scheherazade is a really good role model. I mean, she allows herself to be married to a monster in order to get revenge, which isn't necessarily the greatest idea, but she's like Celaena and Cinder, where she's very independent. She doesn't let people walk all over her, and I guess to me that's very important because I do have a tendency of letting people walk on me, and I shouldn't. I should learn to put my foot down, especially at work. And I have done it a couple times, but it's actually more to the aid of others than to myself. There's this one girl at work, a new coworker that came for the season, and one of the customers knew she had to know that she was new because she was trying to, you know, work the system in her favor, which, especially for a new person, can be pretty bad if you let them walk on you. And she was starting to freak out, and I was like, here, you go on mine and I'll stay here and I will deal with this person. And basically told the person, you look, we can't do it, I'm sorry, I will even call the manager for you. But, you know, and I went back to her, I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. I'm like, if anybody steps on you, call somebody and they will help you out. We're a pretty good group. And I'm not lying, but if somebody did that to me, because I had an instance where a customer was like all up in my face about something that wasn't something I could control, and I like wanted to cry after. I didn't, because I was thinking about crying in front of people. And actually the customers after were pretty nice. I guess they witnessed the situation. But, you know, if somebody had stepped up for me in that instance, it would have made everything better. But I have one more female character that I want to talk about, and then I think I am through for the day. And that, actually no, now that I think about it, I do have two. The first one is Ruby Daly from the Darkest Mind series, and actually I guess three, because now thinking about her I also think about Suzume, and I like both of those female characters for different reasons. Suzume, throughout the series kind of grows to be her own person, and at first she's very timid and shy, and she doesn't talk because of the events that went on in the camp she was at, but, you know, she makes friends, and even finds her cousin, and she goes on like this journey, and she still doesn't say much by the end of the series, but she's definitely become more confident as a person, and I just think she's adorable. I love her, and I hate that she's gone through so much. I just want to like hug her and keep her safe from the world. She's a precious little cinnamon roll that should not be tampered with. Ruby Daly is one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite female characters, because she's just a really well-written character. You know, she has her flaws, she has her fears, but she's also very strong for the end of the book, especially. In the beginning, she's still more timid and afraid of consequences, and her friend Sam is trying to get her to be more active, if that's the right word that I can put forth. You know, she wants her to fight back. She doesn't want her to let the people at the camp kind of walk all over her, like me. So I guess in a way I can relate to Ruby Daly in that fact that like I like to keep my head down when it comes to like conflict unless it involves somebody else. So although she didn't really come to the aid of Sam, she just kind of sat there, which I would have spoken up, I think. But Ruby is very smart, and she was actually able to trick the people that run the camp in order to keep herself alive, pretty much. She, you know, she knows where she wants to go, and she tries to get there, but she makes friends along the way, and she actually learns to accept who she is and what her powers are, and, you know, kind of becomes a stronger character. And I like Ruby. She's also got kind of her dynamic with Chubbs is probably one of my favorite things, because their like snark back and forth is just highly entertaining, and I really enjoy it. The last character I want to talk about is actually an antagonist, and her name is Manon Blackbeak, and she is a witch that is in the Throne of Glass series, and I think she's just pretty badass. And as bad as people think she is, she actually has a heart that not many people would notice or would see, but especially in, I believe, Queen of Shadows, you kind of see more of that heart. I mean, she's still kind of vicious and just terrifying, but you know, even in Heir of Fire, when she picks her wyvern, she started off wanting the strongest one of the bunch, but she ends up picking one that is a fighter, one that had been attacked multiple times, his wings were shredded, he had scars all over him, and yet she connected with him and she's like, I want him. And I think that's very good, and in a way smart, because she's not picking the biggest guy, because, you know, sometimes the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Instead, she picks a smaller one that's a fighter, one that's been through multiple things and, you know, can still fight, still has the will to fight. And since they're using them for a battle, you know, you want a fighter. You don't want somebody that, like, gets scratched in the shin and he's like, oh, I'm dead, I'm dying. You know, she wants... I'm trying to think of a good analogy, because I know exactly who the big guy would be, but I can't think. I guess it would be like Harry Potter. She wants the Harry Potter and not the Draco Malfoy. And what I mean by that, because I have not read the books, and don't get mad at me for it, I will get there eventually. But in the movies, in the third movie, Draco gets kicked by the hippogriff, and like it's probably just a scratch. And he's like, oh, he's killed me. And I'm just like, dude, it's like watching soccer, like football soccer, where like guys barely get hit and they like fall over. But anyway, I like Manon because she can be that tough, scary character, but she's also got a heart, and she kind of starts to realize that the people who are running what they're fighting for are not people she really wants to work with. So she kind of starts to take things into her own hands, and I think that's awesome for an antagonist who may or may not become a protagonist in time, or maybe just like an anti-hero. She's an anti-hero. But that's all I have for you guys today. I know that's kind of a longer video, but it's also not as long as it could be. So I will see you guys next Friday with my Fave Fridays. Hopefully I will finish Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge, which is what I'm currently reading. I don't think I'm even halfway through it. I've been in kind of a slump. I haven't found anything that's really like gripped me, but this is so far not too awful, so I will probably get myself to read. I've just been more preoccupied with other things, mainly video games. I kind of got a PlayStation in December, not for Christmas, it was my own like present to me, I wanted one. And I haven't really read much because of it, but I will get there. I did get a book yesterday in my Owl Crate, which I am super excited for. It's actually up here, and it's called Roseblood, which is a Phantom of the Opera kind of retelling, like, type thing, and it's just, it seems really dark and also very, very interesting, and I really need to finish this so I can read that, and I'm hoping that that book will help get me out of a reading slump. And since it's by A.G. Howard, and so is another book that I have not read, which is called Splintered, which is a Alice in Wonderland retelling. Hopefully, reading Roseblood will help me get into Splintered, which will get that book off my TBR, and also probably add the rest of the books in the series to my TBR. So, not entirely all that helpful, but, you know, I don't have that many books in my TBR right now, which is weird for a bookworm to say, or a book dragon, because I do have that shirt that says I am a book dragon, not a bookworm. But I will see you guys next week. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. It always means so, so much. Who were your favorite female characters and why? Or if you're not sure the reason, if you're kind of like me and you're like, oh, I like her for this, that, and the other thing, and, you know, but you have to think about it and not just like, this character is awesome, you know, then maybe you're more like me. But who is it? Tell me why. Let us talk a little bit, and I will see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday, TGIF, except for the fact that today in America is the inauguration of the 45th president, who multiple people, I'm not going to say everybody, because obviously he's there for a reason, although there has been evidence that there was tamperment going on. But nobody's really all that excited for this except for the die-hard supporters. I, for one, am not, and I do not plan on watching the inauguration. I got to watch Obama's, though, I think, in high school, the second inauguration, or something? No, because it just continued. I don't think he had a second inauguration. Maybe I watched it in 8th grade then. Anyway, moving on. I will see you guys next week. Hope you have a good weekend. Please pray that America doesn't fall to pieces. I love you guys. Happy reading.